Have you ever gone to the store and accidentally bought an infinite curve of watermelons? If you have this problem, I have something that might help. Today I'm going to teach you how to complete the square to solve quadratic equations. I'd like to help you envision completing the square, learn the 4 steps necessary to complete the square, and help you apply this in solving quadratic equations. To envision completing the square, we can take the general equation x plus bx and represent it using rectangles. When we add these together, we get what is almost a perfect square, but a tiny corner is missing. And actually, that corner can be filled by the value b divided by 2 squared in order to create a factorable square. So, let's see what happens when we use our 4 steps to solve this general quadratic equation. Quadratic equations appear in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Step 1 is to get a coefficient of 1 for x squared. Step 2 is to subtract c from both sides if c occurs on the left. Step 3 is to create a value that is b divided by 2 squared and add this value to both sides of the equation. Step 4 is the 4th and final step, and that is just factoring. When we take this equation and factor it, it will appear in the form x plus b divided by 2 squared equals negative c plus b squared over 4. So let's see what happens when we take an actual quadratic equation. In this case, this will be x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0. We can actually skip step 1 because the coefficient of x squared is already 1. So for step 2, we need to get c, in this case 16, over onto the right side. We do this by subtracting 16. And we end up with x squared minus 10x equals negative 16. For step 3, we need to divide b by 2 and square it. In this case, b is negative 10. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5, and negative 5 squared is 25, so we will be adding 25 to both sides. This gives us x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals negative 16 plus 25 is 9. Now, when we factor this, we achieve x minus 5 squared equals 9. Now that we have a square on the left side, we can get our solution by extracting the square root of both sides. The square root of x minus 5 squared is x minus 5. The square root of 9 is positive or negative 3. To get our answer, we simply add 5 to both sides. This gives us either x equals 8 or x equals 2 due to the positive or negative sign. In conclusion, today I've explained how to use completing the square to solve a quadratic equation. I've shown you how you can envision this, how you can use specific steps to do this, and how you can solve quadratic equations using completing the square. Though you may not need to solve problems involving infinite curves of watermelons, you will have to use this in your life in our math-permeated world, so go solve them.